What's happening, people? Welcome back to All You Can Eat Warriors on a Tuesday night. And unfortunately, for your viewing pleasure, it's just me tonight at the moment. My good friend Ash couldn't make it for now, but he might pop in later on. But appreciate everyone that is here and everyone that's dropping in. Welcome in to All You Can Eat Warriors. We're going to go over a few things tonight. Obviously, the team list. Whole host of things we want to cover. For everyone that's in from Instagram, welcome in. I can see a few of you guys coming in. And if you are wanting to share a comment, please pop on over to YouTube at wahsup TV. We appreciate your viewing pleasure and supporting the show. But yeah, for me now, at least you just got me. And welcome in Nigel. Man, Sir Saturday hurt a bit. It did hurt a little bit. Howdy, hi, campers. Yes, welcome in, my friend. Yes, so welcome in, Jacko. Welcome in, everyone from wherever. Malo Bibbles. Yes, sir. DDB. Yes, sir. The chair, brother. Yeah, welcome in, everyone. Look, I'm running on my own at the moment. I'm gonna indulge. Let me indulge your senses a little bit. I'm just gonna share some video. We're gonna do some video analysis tonight to start off. Something I do, if you don't know, I do a show called the wahnanga. I usually do it on YouTube, but break down videotape, get into the deep analysis side of things. So I've actually cut up the first half of the game, and you can watch it with me. Bear with me as we have to pause nearly every frame, because of and yeah, we won't. It's only the first half, so Nigel, we won't be going that deep. We won't be going to the second half tonight. We don't need to break that down, but of course, you don't need to see that. We don't need to see that. But anyway, and let me indulge your senses for a half hour, and then we'll get into the team list and see how we go. But anyway, it works. Let me pull these out here. Show Jacko for. I'll keep reading the comments out, guys. I won't post them, but as we're doing this, but let me indulge you. This first little clip here, I thought was interesting to show. Just a little bit of footage of Freddie Lussick. I had a good chat with a guy on a friend of mine on Instagram, Tater Ramika. If you're out there, Tater, shout out to the brother. Talking a little bit about maybe Freddie isn't as strong defensively up top as maybe even what Egan is. And I had the presumption that maybe Egan was weaker. But there are some clips here that show that a little bit of vulnerability by Freddie, struggling a little bit. It's early on in the game, as you can see, only 7 minutes gone into it. I think he actually improved over time, but just something to kind of be aware of for him is just, as you can see, they're struggling to get back to marker. Look, he's doing mountain climbers there. That's sad, but you know what I mean. Dealing with the pace of the game early on, he struggled, and not just him. I'm talking AFB, a few others. Our ruck defense, our control of the play of the ball, we just really struggled. So, but the physicality, I think, especially of that forward pack, the starting forward pack for the Storm, they just come in guns blazing, and Freddie kind of struggled with that a little bit, as you can see. And Harry Grant is just a mammoth of a player as well. So, but something to be mindful of, and actually credit Egan in some ways, that he is quite good in that contact area and slowing the play the ball down and kind of the wrestling style of things. But I'm not discrediting Freddie. I'm just saying that these are some work-ons or things that he might need to tighten up. Guys, if this YouTube does get copyrighted, yeah. Anyway, we'll try our best not to get blocked. But the whole goal was just to show you guys some footage. This one, the same again. Freddie in contact just misses a little bit, and Coates. I mean, these are tough asks, but Metcalf as well struggling. Our smaller men struggled after a lot of that stuff. But as you can see there, but yeah, just things to think about. But yeah, this is kind of how I do the wahnanga anyway. But this is really good. We're going to get into our first try. So off a penalty, You know how we do the double shift to hit the middle of the park. um, so Adam first in contact, really good, and then we do one more, and then obviously if you look at Sean, he's just reading those numbers and kind of just getting a feel how they're going to set up the next hit. Play the ball, nice wide pass, hit Grant, and then going to pull right after this. And I love this about Webster. I mean, for years as Warriors fans, if you've been following the team, we just go through the motions on the goal line attack. You know, we'd go through 5 plays and get to a kick. Like there was no intention. Whereas here, look, second tackle or third tackle, you're into your shape straight away. This is really nice. You bang it on, and kind of what's happening here is Sean is looking for that 4-man. He wants to set that shape. He gets the look he wants. It's technically 5-on-4, and he's targeting Remus, and he wants a cue off of Remus, I'd imagine. Gets the bite, goes out the back there. Perfect double lead lines. Capewell could probably even be a little bit tighter, but it looks pretty good there for me. And I love Tane Tuopiki here. But last week, if you watched him a little bit, he I suppose, rushed the pass sometimes. But look at this one. Just it's a simple 2-on-1, but still didn't bomb it. Do you know what I mean? Coach playing a bit of, retreat and come back in, patient, bit in, got it. That's just simple. I mean, simple stuff, but it's still to execute it well, nice and smoothly. Great stuff by Tuopiki there. But yeah, just really good attacking shape. Now this one was another one, I think, where his link play isn't exactly where it should be, where it needs to be. Kind of in tight behind Tohu there, and then the pass is from Adam, kind of leading him outside, and just little things like that. Now I don't know exactly what the issue might have been there, but maybe Adam was trying to lead him onto the run a little bit to get to hit that third man, if you can see there. But even Capewell in his setup isn't exactly where, the play is kind of staggered. It's kind of loose. Could be better. So I actually don't kind of blame Tane in that situation, but something to be aware of at least. But he is improving. Let's not say that, but these are the type of plays you got to be quick reacting. The attack is moving all the time. Now this one here, this was the going into the second try, obviously. Now this is an error for me from the guys making contact, and this is what we had issue with Penrith last year, was that guys weren't holding in the tackle and weren't securing the ball. And then this is a great example, pretty much exactly what happened in Brisbane. Go into contact here, Pappenhausen, and then we get the contact there. So there, that should be wrapped up. Now, if you look at Adam, he's actually pulling to the short side to help out, set the defensive line with RTS. So he's already turned his head. Capewell's maybe having a little peek, but Adam's pretty much gone, and he's ready to set for the next phase. Capewell just sees it, and that's kind of where it breaks down. Now, my reasoning for this is that this is a high trust model. Well, if you're going into contact, 3 of you guys going into contact, you better wrap that ball up, because you can't really have guys sitting there waiting for you to make sure it's safe. Adam's ready to go set the next shape. He could have maybe held a little bit longer, but still, those guys need to wrap up the ball handlers. So those are some of the things they need to be really aware of. Capewell just getting pulled across, and just the spacing is just all the way off, as you can see. Please chuck a comment in, guys, if you're on from YouTube. I'm just wondering if I've been blocked. It's gotten a little bit quiet. But anyway, I'm trying to do frame by frame. But yeah, that's the kind of talking about, just to see, that's kind of some of the issues with our system. It's a high trust model. The guys that make the contact need to make the contact. They need to complete that task. And then it's a simple draw and pass. And we don't need to go right through to that next part. You good? Thank you, Nigel. I don't want to see it drop off, and then you have been copyrighted. Thank you, Glenda. Appreciate it. Yep, awesome. All good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I just was wondering. I wasn't looking for validation. Just want to make sure that it's all good, because I just want to make sure everything's safe. Okay, now this one. Now, if you think about it, it's actually quite a good play to hit the edge on a first tackle off a penalty. off a scrum base. And what you can do is you can get a quick play of the ball, and then that defensive line, as you can see, has to shift back 10 meters, and then it can jump start your sets. And this is what Melbourne did really well, is that they hit the edges early, and similar to how if you think about how we do it with RTS, we go to on second tackle, we can go hit wide RTS. He can usually get a broken tackle or a quick play of the ball. So as you can see here, now Berry, great tackle, it's awesome, but it's a quick one because it's a legs tackle. And then there's not the double up. There's no control there. And unfortunately, in the NRL, this legs tackles today are not rewarded pretty much, and so it has to be a quick play of the ball. And see Sean even struggling to come in to cover. He wants to kind of hold that down a little bit longer, let the defense set. But as you can see, it's kind of really tricky to do. He has to release it pretty much straight away. But that's another way to kind of jumpstart your sets, is to get a tackle on the edge, because you usually get a legs tackle or you can break a tackle. And especially in our situation, RTS. But this was good. They did this really well, Melbourne. And look, Berry out of the play because he's had a legs tackle, and then it just sort of just picks them up and gets them going. And they did that actually on the first try when they had a tap from penalty, and they just sort of picked up and went ahead with it. So just something to be aware of when you see that. That's another way of kind of getting your sets going. Hit wide early. And then that defensive line had to kind of almost run diagonally and set off of that edge. So your forwards are actually moving almost 15, 20 meters to get into position to set off of that tackle. And then that's kind of how they kind of start moving people around a bit further. And we do it well as well. Just sort of kind of aware of it. Now, this is their second try. It was a third try, sorry. Yeah. This is just a beautiful one. If you'd actually really watch it closely. So the thing with it, sorry, I should have replayed it, but when these goal line tackles, is that because the forwards are so compressed to having to tackle so close to the line, if you get, say, on someone like Hughes out wide and they set an edge, what I mean by setting an edge, they're bang on with either the third or fourth man out from the on the defensive line. They've already got the numbers to actually do the overlap on you. So it's kind of, you have to get as much push from the inside as you can to get across. Now, it's actually okay here. We're doing pretty good. This is actually, what is it? Capewell's checking on Tui. He's going to slide and push. Now, this is just a kind of, I think, Capewell kind of ball watching, but a little bit of everything. And actually really credit. Now, look at Pappenhausen here. He's kind of set up deep, and it could be out the back. I'm wondering if the boys kind of thought that it wanted to be out the back a little bit. Pezza does a nice job squaring it up. And then Capewell almost has to close that gap a little bit. Sean sees it's Chan, but maybe he's expecting Capewell to close that up. Yeah, so there's a few things going there. They've kind of got the overlap on the outside, so I wonder if that's happening. And then I wonder also if just Capewell needs to close it. And that's a tough assignment. But I love the deception, kind of Pappenhausen set deep and almost vertically behind Chan, and then is pushing through with pace. And he did the same thing pretty much. And then he's doing the old McInnes. Was it McInnes? The McInnes meme there. What was the McInnes meme when he was diving? That's kind of the McInnes meme. And Jacko Ford just in the comments, yes, that's the old Proctor the Slate. Absolutely. And unless you're cued onto it, it's it can hit you pretty quickly. And that, I mean, just flying through. Beautiful to watch. Beautiful play. Would love to see us try it, maybe even with a 2-0 picky. That would be interesting. But nah, Pappenhausen just elite. Okay, so now we're going to get into something else. What do we got here? Oh, just a little bit of Tane, a bit of indecision. I think Tane just needed to either square this up, go to Remus, or just settle the play. Just don't force it. I can see where he's trying to do the outside, the cutout. Yeah, probably just should have held that one. I'm feeling. But apart from that, it's all good. He's a young fella, getting used to it. When you're a fullback in this system, you got to make a lot of decisions. But I probably, if I was him, just held that ball, a little bit more patience. Yeah, but and good comments here by Glenn. What's been up with Capewell's defense? Oh, I'm gonna give it a few more weeks. I don't think there's anything like, there are a few lapses in place. I mean, that one's a tough read to make. Marata, I feel, would probably cover that ground, but still would have been a tight miss. But I think we need to give it a bit more time. He's still getting himself acclimatized to it. And then, yeah, Nigel, good point. Good to see Puppy going hard again. Yeah, yeah, good to see someone that's had a type of those injury history he's had in the last 2 or 3 years just actually full stretch. And that's what I was worried about last week against the Panthers. He didn't look, he looked good, but I was like, oh, there's still a few more levels for him to go. But anyway, let's get back to now. This is the double block the opposite way. Again, see that when you're on the goal line, that nice deep wide pass, and then you can set your edge. So you're almost blocking out 3 defenders, and you can set your shape, and you got the overlaps already. So that's the real demanding part of goal line defense, is that you have to get the push from the inside. But we do a good job here, and this is just nice line. Again, now this is a little wrinkle we haven't seen since this year, is actually that doing the double block the other way, and then just using Metcalf as you would use Tane Tuopiki or the fullback on the right side, using Metcalf as that link player. So I thought this was just really nice again, and cued off this time. The winger jams. You saw the last time Coates sat back and played cat and mouse. This time the winger jams, delivers on. Now my concern here. First, we're going to get into what the Montoya finished there. But if that's Dallin, for me, Dallin runs onto that. See, Montoya, he just holds his run a little bit. He's not used to that, I don't think. He needs to be running onto that ball. But he just holds his run a little bit there. Good catch though. There was a tricky one. But here, for me, people, I've been harping on about it. Needs to go into the outside hand. There's enough space there. He can go to that corner. I have no idea why he went with the inside hand here. You can bump with your right shoulder and place with the left hand. Enough space for me. See, put in the left hand, hit him with your right shoulder, bump it out. You know what I mean? That's classic, from example, me, Manu. Manu used to do that. He used to bump on the inside and bounce out to the left. Yeah, so this just, you do not want to do that. Head higher there. Warriors bias should have been penalty try. Yeah, and Tater coming in. Thanks, brother. Tater, I was just mentioning the brother Tater there. We talked about Freddie Lussick, and yeah, he's very right dominant. A lot of his carries, even when he's out of yardage, is right-handed dominant. I'm really interested to know why, but that's just, for me, you go to the corner, or if you bump him, and you bump out. And ball's down there, and that's a try. But what is it saying in boxing? Unless you knock them out, you leave it up to the judges, mate. You should have, that's a knockout. You put it down, you left it in the hands of the judges, and we know our Aussie judges know what they usually say. Questions. Yeah, basic fundamentals. KP's tackle efficiency is still decent, just the same. Some of his lapses have led to tries. Yeah, Jacko defending his right edge partner. Yeah, but I think basic fundamentals for me. That's basic 101 wing play or any play. Move it to the outside hand. Lana saying, did he change hands when he bumped Staines? Yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, if that was Manu, I'm not too sure, Lana. Might have to go watch that one back. Yeah, Jackson Ford saying, if that was Manu Jerome, he was a big road. Well, yeah, I just remember Manu. He'd go in for contact, but he'd always have it in their left hand and then he'd place. So he'd almost use their whack against him. They'd push him to the corner and he'd place it down. But just something to kind of, be aware of. But that's fundamentals. And same here again. I just want to show you again, beautiful double block. This is nice to see it now as a left-sided play. And Sean just in a nice floating outside ball. See how the ball sits out wide, and then just nice tap on by Metcalf there. But see, even Montoya there, he should just be running onto that a little bit more. He waits for a little bit. Dallin's usually good at that. He can grab it from behind and go and keep momentum going forward. Montoya just isn't that winger for me. But look, there's a ton of space there. There's heaps of space. Look at that. You've got a mountain of room, bro. And see, even now he wants to cut it inside. He's probably, if he goes another 3 or 4 steps to the left, and then you got to change hands there. You just have to. And then you see, as you're bumping him, if you're hitting him there with if the ball's in your left hand there, you can whack him still, and your left hand's free. And see, your left hand even went down there, so you would have scored the try. Again, just fundamentals for me. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, let's move on. What's this here? Again, this is just sealing up the tackler. What I talked about, what happened against Broncos. We've got to cut out the second phase footy here. Yep. And they've got to seal that up. Hold that ball in there, Rog. Yeah, well, you just got to tighten these areas up, eh? You just can't let that. Tohu does well to kind of stay as cover, but still, we're just getting second phase, and we'll get killed on that. Now, this is the obstruction call. Now, this is just, I don't know what these bunker guys up to, man. There has to be some serious investigations, in the words of Jeff Tuvey there, as to why these guys are doing what they're doing. Because for mine, look at the movement Jerome Hughes makes. He's moving in. That's his own decision. That's of his own volition, as they say. And look, the play actually stays on the outside. It's not like Metcalf's filling in that hole. He's actually playing to the outside. He probably could have cut, if he cut in there. They've got maybe another reason, but this is just, I do not know what the bunker's up to, man. Yeah, that just for me is just, that's just what basics 101, man. But anyway, guys, that makes up the wahnanga. I mean, if you want to watch more, I've only had time to do the first half, but we usually do that. I try to do it by Thursday usually, but I've only cut up the first half. But we usually do the second half as well. But yeah, now we're getting into the questions here. Is us saying, I think they have money on the Warriors missing the top 8 or something. The bunker, you can even hear in the voice sometimes they're very dismissive, like they're quick to make their judgments of plays. And I'm like, I still don't like the tone in your voice, mate. You know what I mean? Tater's saying here, yeah, Roger was getting a bit lazy in the ruck when it came to tackling. He dropped off a second too early in the game. Yep, we can be fair on Rog, even though he's coming back into the game. I think that yeah, and Ethan Narangi, yeah, Tigers are better than both these teams. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for that. Alana saying, yeah, that's what I said. Yep. Jacko, terrible call by the bunker. So obvious Hughes made the play. Yeah, it's just rubbish, you know. As I was saying, bro, it's crazy. He went 2 steps to the left when the play was running right for Hughes. True. Yeah, interesting. Okay, guys, let's get into this team list, eh? I know that's what you're here for as well. So what's your guys' thoughts on the team list? Chuck in the chat any questions that you may have. Let's get this team list up. We won't really do it. We'll do a kind of combined 17 together, I suppose. But it'd be good to just have a look at what your guys' thoughts are. Now, for me, off the top, I'm assuming that Egan is from the. I heard Webby's comments today on SCNZ that he was actually thinking more of. Excuse me here. Yeah, he was thinking more of that Egan's kind of come and go as the. Yeah, and as Tahi's saying, hit the likes button. We got 61 people in the house. Thank you very much. And that's a lot. I know a lot of you guys are from Twitter. We appreciate you on there, a lot on IG, here on YouTube. If you're in the house, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, please, as well. We'd love to have you over there. We are trying to draw a bit more traffic towards the YouTube channel and get some subscribers. So if you got the time, all 61 of you, to give us a like and a subscribe on wahsup TV on YouTube, We appreciate that very much. But thank you very much, brother Tahi, for tautoko i tērā. Kia ora. Okay, so yeah, let's break it down. Actually, first, yeah, my thoughts are Egan will drop out. If it's, I think from what Webby's comments were, it was a day to day. So apparently Webby said this morning that it's an old injury that's come back out. So he can't really pass, or it must be something to do with that elbow. Just can't get the passing going. But Webby said it can heal up within. It's one of those things that it could be right tomorrow. So in saying that, I think it goes back to Lussick, who's 14. He will go back into the 9, and I've made my comments that I think he had a pretty good game. I'm pretty happy with what he's doing. He's not at the levels of Egan, and we have to accept that for now. But everything else that he's doing, I think he's doing pretty well. For me, yeah. So say if Lussick starts, I'm definitely going to go back to CHT. I like the balance in that squad. I think Jazz is outside of the squad for sure. Tamaire, likewise. Pompey again. But CHT for me is that cover guy, and he showed enough that I think he could do even more minutes, maybe a 15, 20 minute stint. I think Webby's very aware of that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that could be the bench. But what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think Egan will play? Let me know. Jacko's saying here, I think Egan will not play. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's absolutely fine. I can see that as well. But yeah, good call there. Anyway, off the top, while we had Tane back at it, I think he'll go okay. Jordan Rapana. Now, I'm being honest, guys. I haven't watched much Raiders, but from what I know of Jordan, he is a very serviceable kind of a player. If we're going to do a combined 17, chuck in the chat quickly who you got. If you got Rapana or if you've got Tuopiki. I'll be interested to see what you guys say. I'm thinking maybe Rapana based on history and experience. Shout out to Ben. Welcome in, Ben. I think it might be your first time. He says, you reckon Alia and Bunty are too similar to be on the bench together? Maybe removes how dynamic it is. It could be. I think what Webby got out of Bunty on Saturday was actually really good. I think he kind of got maybe ideally what Bunty could do. He was actually quite impactful, but I think that's on the balance of the bench that he was up against. For example, against the Sharks and last week, Hazelton and Rudolph just really kind of dominated. And he's coming in at a different time of the game when momentum may be shifting, so it can be difficult, and it may look different every week. But against what the Storm provided, I thought he did pretty well. And then their Ali and their last little run was pretty good too. So I'm not too sure, but I'm at the moment, Ben, I'm pretty happy with what they've got going at the moment. Comments here from Ezra. They're forward pack strong. Might run through. Yeah, we'll break that down for sure. There's going to be some good points here by Jacko. Raiders will attack through the middle with basic hard running, tackling footy. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. Dallin versus Kotrick. Technically maybe up against Xavier Savage. Look, I think these are all good kind of carrying back five. Tomoko versus Berry, I think is a beauty. And then Roger versus Albert. Albert's no scrub as well. And then you got Montoya v Kotrick or Savage. I'm not too sure which side it is, but what's your thoughts, guys, on the back five? Back five battle. I'm still favouring our boys. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Tomoko, obviously, from the Kiwis and the type of year he's had last year. I think they're a very good side. Jackson's saying here that the Raiders bench forwards are pretty average, though. Yeah, interesting thought there. Interesting thought. We might have to look into that. But in terms of back five, I'm feeling pretty good about our chances. I think Roger, for me, he's just got he's not even. I don't even think he's close to being settled into what we want to do. I think he's got room to grow. I think he's trying to figure out where he fits at the moment. Webby's comments this morning, if you guys listen to SCNZ, he was talking a lot about that they want to use Roger in an expanded role. And I mean, I think that might be moving side to side at different times of the game. but at the moment they're just trying to figure out how he fits uh, in as a left-sided centre. So I think there's a room to grow there for sure. But at the moment, I think he's still finding his feet. And like we've said, even he may have dropped off of tackles. There was a few knock-ons. That last knock-on was a bit tough for us to accept. But at the same time, I think he just needs to kind of be given some more time to settle in. Let's go into the halves. Luke Metcalf, Ethan Strange, and Fogarty and Sean Johnson. I feel our halves are still developing. I think Metcalf is finding some consistency, trying to find his patterns with that, like I showed that last play with Sean where he played the link man. I think there's more of that we can exploit. There's more of that 2-on-1 where he can get into. There's more and Sean obviously just playing at a really high level, patient execution wise. I think in the halves we pretty much have them. Fogarty is serviceable. But like any halves, when they get a good forward pack, they can, if they get position and control of the middles, they can do pretty much, all in our halves when they get a good forward pack are pretty good. Nas saying Tomoko, I rate Tomoko. And then Glenda's saying Montoya just needs to finish the skill from other players. Yeah. That's a great point, Glenda. Absolutely. Alana's saying, I think pressure kicking to Tomoko to expose him may be a treat. Oh, that's a good one. Just need to get up and shut the players or close the space so we don't get burnt by Savage. Yeah, that's another one. I think Berry is very good. Him and Dallin are doing pretty well for me. They're making the calls at the right times. I think Dallin's doing his best to hold and wait for Berry, and then maybe sometimes holding a little bit long. But it's such a sensitive type of the best teams, they have had those combinations for long times, maybe 2 or 3 years, even 4 years, where they have to get that timing right. But I think those two will get their feet a little bit more. But at the moment, I think they're doing a really good job shutting down most of the attacks. I'm actually surprised in a lot of senses how RTS and Montoya haven't been truly exploited on the edges yet. That was an area when I first started the season I was concerned about. It's been surprising that they haven't maybe had matchups to really break them down. A lot of the movement's been going towards Berry and Dallin's side, so really interesting to see that we're kind of actually holding up a little bit on the other side. And Jacko here is saying we have edge in our halves, but Fogarty's bombs can be lethal, and we need to pressure him all game. Yeah, inside pressure. I know a lot of teams are actually struggling with a little bit inside, actually getting some good inside pressure. Some are struggling, but a lot of so I'll be interested to see Tane. It'll be another big night for him, and he's done really well. This kid, I know a lot of people have been hard on him, but under the conditions and the circumstance, he's done really well. I like his confidence. I think you got a good point there. That those bombs, he'll need a lot of protection, but also, we can't. I similar to what happened to Coates. Coates did pretty well against SJ's bombs, but when it's like 10 times, one out of those 10 you're going to drop. So we don't want volume on Tane, should we say? Maybe 5 or 6, but if he's getting 10 bombs, he's going to drop one of those at least, in my view. And most players will. It's just that sometimes that difficult. Pups versus Josh Papali'i. Egan, now I'm just going to put Freddie Lussick there for my own mental thing just for now. But if it is Egan, yes. But Josh, Danny Levi, and Tapine up against Barnett. Oh, mate, that's a tough slog. Let's be honest. After what we saw last week, are we saying that they'll win that first 30 minutes? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think that Melbourne front row of Tapine and Papali'i will dominate AFB and Barnett? I'm going to play devil's advocate. Well, it's not even. I think it's kind of fair. They probably will. I think Tapine is just a wrecking ball. Like they're both wrecking balls. Tapine is another tier when he wants. Like when he really wants to, he can be another tier. I think they'll get on top of R2. Yeah, and as I was saying, we can't be lazy this week. Definitely can't be. We have to be very, very onto it. So if it is Freddie Lussick, we're just going to be really strong in those contact areas. They'll like to play it up the middle, and rightfully so. But yeah, I'm saying yeah. I think the good thing to and shout out to Tai saying we better at least match them. Yeah, we have to match that energy, and maybe at home in a home crowd we will. Um, Maybe for the first 20, yeah, and we could see that. My interesting thing is maybe playing at home, we maybe start a little bit stronger. Might balance itself out, but it's really that second wave that can hit us. Jacko here is saying Tarpany is top, but Paps is getting a little slow. It's something to watch out for. It's a great matchup, just even on paper. Looking at that matchup is awesome. And I wouldn't put Barnett down either. I think he's great. I think he loves the collisions. He loves embracing all that. And Bunty in for Barnett and sub him off after 20 as the Raiders bench his middle rolls on. Yeah, that's another interesting with Jackson where we haven't seen that yet. Webby is happy with him starting. In this situation, though, I'll be pretty happy with Barnett and AFB matching those two. Just and then Bunty can come on, and it might not be massive impact, but it's enough to keep us going. Walker's really your impact guy, from what I've seen. Bunty's you kind of hold it together, piece it together. Third man in tackle, make sure everything's safe and locked up. And Lana's saying this is why I think Jazz would be good for leg speed. Good, it's a good shot. It is a good shot. I wonder if Jazz will get a look into sometime, but I think Webby's playing it safe a little bit. I think he's actually thinking that I've got enough leg speed in Walker. As long as Bunty can do his job, the balance for me, the balance for whatever his decision making is, for whatever reason, Bunty is above Jazz at this stage. Nick Calagaras, welcome in, Nick. Hopefully it's cold AF in Christchurch. I hope so too. Hey, 74, you guys in here. If you are on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe. And if you're on Twitter or on Instagram, please come over to YouTube as well and give us a like and subscribe to wahsup TV. Appreciate it. I know it won't happen, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, it is worth a shot, Jacko. It is, Mr. Ford. Versus Josh and Tarpine, get him tired. If you do notice, and I think last week at least we did grow into the game. I actually kind of in a weird. I'm maybe looking into a bit too much, but I think our guys kind of improved. I think they kind of match fitness maybe wasn't right around round one, but I think as that game went along, they got stronger and stronger. So I'm hoping that kind of we're sort of getting settled into the season. I feel as though that we're starting to get match fit, fully match fit, and especially our forwards. They kind of grew as that game went along. Let's go into the back row. Jacko Ford, Hudson Young, Kate Well versus Ali Whitehead, and Tohu Harris versus Morgan Smithies. Yeah. Young and Whitehead, kind of Whitehead's. I like White. I've always liked Whitehead is more of a back row in terms of Hudson Young's more of a. He's good too. I haven't watched enough this year to know exactly where they are, but I'm going off their reputation, what I know of them. They are solid. What's your guys' thoughts on that back row versus our back row? Ford v Young, Capewell versus Whitehead. And Jacko here is saying, yeah, the Raiders will not mind the cold. Actually, the Canberra's a miserable cold place. It actually might be backfire. Maybe want to heat it up a little bit. And Lana's saying, do you think Labman, the Labman, that might be a good way of saying his name, actually, Nick. But I know what you mean. Laban gets a shot without an injury. Not at the moment. I think they want Capewell to really get into his role. They want to. I'm thinking they want 2 80-minute back rowers to free up their bench space, to play a more middle dominant rotation. That's my thought. And Lana's saying, Kurt, please, mate, stamp your mark on this game, mate. Yep. And Ezra's coming. I think Hudson Young is dangerous. Peace Weaving. Welcome in from Twitter, mate. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts. And Ezra's actually agreeing with you. I think he's saying that they've got us in the back row. T Miller saying Ford pretty even. Yeah, okay. Jackson Ford. Whitehead is too old now. Many Raiders fans are disappointed he's been selected. Okay, I didn't really know that. But yeah, that's something to to think about. Into Webby, the Warehouse Stationery. Is that the Warehouse Stationery logo? But yeah, how is Kossi tracking? Kossi just I feel for him. He's kind of had a tricky situation coming back from last season. The injury that he had pretty much at Penrith just really disrupted him. But I know he's working hard. I mean, I've seen him work hard. Would love to see Big Koss back in for sure. He's for him personally, I feel that he has to at least at some stage say, I want a spot here. I definitely want a starting spot here. He's got a lot of guys to compete with now. Setu Tu's putting himself in the mix. Moala Graham. There's a few of them, hanging in the wings, literally, like I say. And but Koss, I'd love to see him come back in. I thought he did a good shift with us. It's a shame he got that injury, that kneecap injury against Penrith. But I hope so. I hope for our sake. Smithies versus Harris. What's you guys' thoughts there? I'm definitely going Harris. I don't know much about Smithies, but it seems like a younger player. But I mean, going off kind of Ricky's selections, he loves his big players. He loves his big athletic players. He's always valued size over kind of the other soft skills, should we say? He's always loved the hard skills, the hard workers, the up and down type guys, footwork athletes. But no doubt these guys will be ready. Now let's go to our bench. Now I'm just going to take Freddie Lussick out. I'm going to chuck in CHT there. Okay. So let me move Dylan Walker up. So Dylan Walker versus Tom Starling, Tom Ale versus Emre Gula, Bunty versus Zach Hoskins. So Hoskins come over for Penrith, and Dylan Walker's for Saulo. Look, I think that's a good back. I think that's a pretty good bench for the Raiders. I'm not going to lie. They've got enough size there. Starling's pretty good in his role when he comes on. He lifts the energy. So I imagine they'll be having a rotation with him and Levi. I don't think Levi will play all the minutes. I'll actually have to go and look at some of their minutes and how they kind of do their rotations. But us off the top, Gula, Hoskins from the Panthers should be pretty good. Pasami Saulo is pretty good as well. They'll be in for it. They'll definitely be trying to keep their momentum going the whole game. I'll be interested to see what you guys think. But yeah, walk up. There he is. Walk up. Kia ora. I like that one. There's another form of a swear word. I appreciate it. But there he is. There he is. Peace Weaving saying Montoya can't lose a spot, bumps forwards off at times. Yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, Big Koss, he can put on a whack as well. But he's definitely a guy waiting in the wings for sure. And to where we're saying Hosking is a gun. He is. I think he is at least. And Zach Hosking, yeah, Peace Weaver, damaging runner from what I've seen this year, can score. Yeah, so again, Hosking over from Penrith, it's another chink in the armor. I would go actually with their bench. I think their bench would outdo ours, if I'm being honest. So it's going to be I think it will be a hard night, really. Lana saying Sticky is a fool for not starting Hosking, though. Man is a gun. Yeah, maybe a bit of favoritism. I'd be interested to see why he's done that. And Ezra saying Hosking, best player on the bench, both teams right now. Wow, that's a shout. Yeah, and Hosking is, and I know him from Penrith. Joe from Twitter, thank you for coming. Do you reckon we'll see Zion Mayu coming through the bench over Bunty or Tom Ale? We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I know everyone's shouting Mayu. I know everyone wants to see that. It could be. I mean, it could be. I mean, like I said, there's competition for spots. There's guys waiting in the wings literally for one slip up. I mean, if Bunty falls off or if Alia falls off, they can easily call Mayu. You know what I mean? It's not a position, if you think about it, where if Sean isn't fit, if Sean makes 10 mistakes, they're not going to get rid of Sean because he's just too good. You're going to say, he made 10 mistakes, but I know next week he'll be okay. You know what I mean? There's not that much pressure on Sean because of what he's doing and the caliber of player he is. Whereas if you look at a Bunty and an Ali, definitely they could be called in if they make 3 or 4 mistakes. Jacko Ford, on the other hand, what they value from him, his work rate and what he does, is too valuable for even his errors. It's that kind of thing. If you look at the NFL, I remember Antonio Brown. If you know your NFL, he's a wide receiver. Um, he could do literally whatever he wanted because of the talent he had. Now that was more behavior based. I mean, he did some crazy stuff, but they tolerated. Yeah, depending on it's like toleration depending on your abilities. Now, what I'm saying, maybe Bunty and Tom don't have that same ability, and there's not there's less toleration for those two, and so you might be right. Whereas someone like a SJ, AFB, there's more toleration because based off of the quality of the player. But you'd probably be right, Joe. You could get a shot. Um, I expect Hosking will start and Whitehead move to bench. Okay, Jacko Ford, you've obviously gone to the team meeting today. Appreciate you sharing that. I hadn't noticed Ali last week. Really want him to have his breakout game. Yeah, I liked what he did. Into Webby, I think he did enough for me just to keep the game moving. He didn't. Yeah, he didn't break the game over like what maybe a Spencer Lenu can do. That's why I think we're waiting on the Morata, and he may drop out because we got to remember Morata's coming in, so one of those guys is going to fall out. But yeah, shout out to Richard. Welcome in, mate. Good to see you again. Walk up is saying, our kick chase started work. A charm against Storm and Berry has come a long way very quickly. What were your thoughts originally on Rocco? Yeah, you know what? I wasn't big on Rocco. I'll be honest with you. But the progress he has made, he's doing a great job, and he's fitting in well with what we're doing. I was even talking about how Rocco, he was looking for Dallin on the outside towards the end of the game, and then he got tackled, and then he gave Dallin like this death stare, like, where the hell were you? And then Dallin pulled up his hammy. Dallin started stretching his hammies, like, sorry, man, my hammies were done. I couldn't get there. So, I love his confidence. He's grown leaps and bounds. Defensively solid, makes good reads, makes good tackles. And now his offensive runs are getting a little bit there. He's improving a lot. His involvement, that little tap on to Dallin, I thought was amazing. That was beautiful. So, he's doing really well. And Tahi's saying, it's a good bench, but for the Raiders, but we look good too. Yeah, no, we do. I think we're looking okay. But yeah. Tater saying, reckon Wado. I think so. I think he'll drop out again. That's me. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he will. Lana's saying, Tom Ale is learning slow art of footwork. He will score this game. Wow. Yeah, he will. Well, I'd love to see that. Nick Kalogaras. Welcome in, Nick. We miss Curran coming off the bench and making an instant impact. Yeah, what I did like about Curran was he was impactful. He's got a really good line on him, eh? Like, I mean, his line running was just superb. And he was good at that. He was good at what's the word? Getting himself into the game, getting involvements, working, touches. And SJ, I think, was always confident with having Curran on his outside. I think that was always a nice combo. But yeah, good call, good shout. Ali got 70 run meters in 50 minutes compared to Barnett with 120 and 55. Yeah, and it's hard to compare, obviously. Barnett doing a lot of grunt work early on. Ali coming on in a soft period or softening period. But yeah, for that period of time, that 15 minutes, he did a good job, and that's what they should do. Because I imagine if they reverse the roles, Ali might have 80 minutes, have 80 meters with 55 minutes, and a couple missed tackles. Whereas Barnett, if he was in that position, he might have got 70 and a try. Who knows? But that's what I'm just saying. It's different times of the game, all that type of stuff. Now Ali will stay. Offers a bit more on offense than Bunty. Anyone agree? I have actually agreed with that piece. I actually like Ali over Bunty. I saw a bit of value in what Bunty was doing in that period. But for me, still, I think Ali is the future in terms of that role. But yeah. Joe saying, with Rocco and RTS being guns, where do you reckon Leatoa now fits in the squad? Lad is a gun. Leatoa is almost, mate, he's nearly, like, for me, he's nearly there in a weird way. Like, he could surpass Berry. But it's kind of a logjam a little bit at the moment. Berry's doing a good job in his role, but Leatoa, that the metrics, the physical, metrics that he has, the fend, the speed, he's still got a few things to work on. I think Rocco beats him out for defense. I think there's the little 1%ers. I think Rocco is doing them really well. I would just love to see maybe Leatoa in that cup for a little bit longer. But when he comes in, if there's an injury there, mate, he's in there for sure. Yeah, Ali is 100 games less than Barnes. He is, and we're just going to take that into reflection of where everything is. I'm just going to go here to Jackson Ford. Once Marata comes back, we will be fine without Curran. Yeah, and we just haven't seen our starting guys. I mean, we haven't even got Chance, haven't had Marata. We saw Wade for less than a half almost. We haven't had our guys fully back, so good shout there. Well, 87 people in here. If you are on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe to wahsup TV. But if you're on Twitter, thank you for watching. Instagram, wherever you may be, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Alia has size and a little footwork. Bunty will drop out from what Jacko here is saying there. I think we agree on the footwork, definitely. We definitely agree on those things. Richard's saying, do you reckon the boys should offload more? And if it keeps working, doing it? If not, put it away. I mean, Warriors' history has been about offloading at the wrong times. I think they've got the right balance. I think what Webby is doing is, you don't have to offload all the time. You can get to it. Like for Webby, I think for him, his main thing is getting to the parts of the field first and then setting up your attack after that. Broken play is good, I'm sure. I mean, I've always enjoyed when the Warriors play loose footy and pass the ball around, but I think Webby's and the system is very much on hold the ball, get to the part of the field that we're trying to get to, and then set up for the next play. So it's all about the next player, I think. But, mate, I'd love to if I could. But we've got some speedy guys. We've got like 2 pickies around at the moment. There's Metcalf. Imagine if we were chasing a game. I mean, I've seen Adam put offloads in. But it's funny when our guys offload, a lot of them aren't ready for it. You know what I mean? They're almost setting up for the next play. So I kind of thought that's what I talk about is that they're always setting up for the next tackle. Sometimes there was a one offload RTS did to Metcalf, and he was already setting up for I think it was against the Sharks, in just similar fashion. But there was that nice one AFB did, and then it went out wide. I think if guys just sort of get in tune, like offloading and that type of thing is very much like a feel thing. You just know, okay, Adam's going to offload here, and just be ready. Like, a lot of our older teams, the 2002s and all that, 2001, they just knew kind of when someone was going to do an offload and to be ready for it and pounce on it. So I think that's something they need to work on. What have we got here? Yeah, Barry and DWZ combo is really good, too good right now. Yeah, I think that's another thing. When you're talking about a center combo, you're thinking about the combo and who works right now with Dallin is probably going to be Barry, and the timing's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with him. Tater's saying when Dallin has DWZ have offload, I have a mini stroke. Take that. yeah, and that's another thing is like when you become too offload centric, it just errors start to come in. But at the moment, our boys are playing it pretty safe. True, Webby knows what's best. I agree. Yep. Shout out, Richard. Jacko's saying don't worry about the offload. Stop the opposition's offload's more important. Yep. Very good shot. Okay, I think I've caught up to most everyone's comments there. Let's move on. I think so. Yeah, let's just quickly talk about. Let's go 18th man. Yeah, no, that's all right. But I do think CHT will come in. Now, if Jazz came in, that means for me they're thinking we need more cover on the bench. Like we need more impact. But for the majority. It's really a 3-man rotation at least, and then they kind of mix and match as they go on. And I think they'll stick with just those 3 and a utility coming off the bench. But anyway, let's go to what's your score prediction, guys. Now, man, we've just really come out of this thing. Listening to what Webby said, I think he's of the mindset that they did a quick evaluation. They pretty much said, "Hey, let's move on. Let's kind of." They did their quick eval, and he said they left everyone left happy. So it means for me that they've got out of it what they needed to from Melbourne, and they're ready to move on. And I think the boys are excited to move on. I think they'll naturally carry on from where they have. I would imagine that the errors and penalties and things like that will start to iron themselves out. But yeah, again, just an early physical matchup, and physicality has been killing us. Let's be honest. Sharks, the Hazelton, and that period of the middle of the game got dominated early by Melbourne with 18 to 6 lead. So physically, we have to aim up. We have to really aim up. Hey, shout out Jacko. Have fun, mate. We'll catch you later. Um, Appreciate you coming in, brother. Thank you for your time. Yeah, we have to aim up and just sort of break them down. And I think what we did well against Melbourne is we broke them down eventually, and we got that. Peace Weaving saying here 28-18, mate. That would be beautiful. Would love to see a 28-18. And Richard saying the Wahs by whatever it takes. Good. Hey, I would love to see a dominant performance. I'd love to see us finally kind of, you know, get into our season, get our first win of the year, and have some really good, like we had against Melbourne, good attacking shape, a bit more control. You know, we did have a nail biter last year. I think the big out for the Raiders is probably Whiten. That was another element I think that was really quite dynamic for them. But you know, looking at that bench and the size they've got, yeah, like you said, you got Zach Hosking. You got to deal with a lot of that, so it's going to be a physical game. But hopefully, our guys and our attack can move them around. But I'd love to see the matchup. You know, early on at least. See how we hold out Papali'i and Tapine. That's going to be a big one. But I think we'll get them. Yeah, I think, you know, and I said that about Melbourne, but I do think, yeah. And this one, Richard, yeah, good call. We've got to watch out for Danny Levi. Yeah, be tight. No soft tries like the first game against the Sharks. I think we'll slowly get our things right. I think we just need to kind of settle in. Hey, shout out Stells. Welcome. We just need a full 80 and we have it in the bag. Good point. Yeah, I'm with you there. If we just play tight the whole way, get our line and shape sorted, get into our attack again, grind them down. I think we got this. And we've proven that we are a really good team. So I'm totally with you there. A 1 point victory again. Wow. You think it's going to be a flashback from that? Lana. Good. Well, could be. Muck about 42. Could it very well be a banana skin versus the comp leaders? Banana. I think we've had too many banana skins. Let's just eat our bananas and chuck them in the rubbish. But yeah, let's hope so. Hey Jose, how you doing, my man? Glad to let you come in. Yeah, we're just kind of wrapping up to, or going closer to wrapping. Oh, actually, no, we've got a few more topics. Actually, I forgot about the Lusick and who's it? Metcalf. We'll talk about him too. But yeah, welcome in, Jose. I think our fullback is going to be too fast for their tired forwards. He's coming in really elusive. Yeah, to Picky, he's due a try. I think, you know, in a weird. He's due. He's really getting involved. I'd like to see him. Yeah, get over the line. Just I think he deserves it. He's done really well. Tatum, my man, is saying Canberra are brute force down the middle. We will be able to contain the attack, but it's the physicality of the forwards that we need to stop. Outside backs don't have much strike. Yeah, it's that physical element. We're going to have those rough periods, I think, and that's where we're asking Bunty and the likes, Walker, that rotation, to hold that middle period of the game. I think there's going to be definitely a 10 to 15 minute window where they will dominate. They've got too much size. I think that if they get, you know, penalties, 6 against, they will have a period there where they will dominate. We just have to be really consistent defensively. We can't leak in tries after, you know, repeat sets. We have to really hold out. Richard saying, I don't want to, the tight game, I want us to smash the Raiders. Mate, I'd absolutely love to. Are you going to do a man-to-man breakdown? No, we really didn't. I would have loved. Sorry, Jose, Ash couldn't be on tonight, but I know Ash has got a lot more knowledge in terms of, you know, in most things. But I really appreciate his knowledge from all the NRL teams, and especially what he knows of all the Aussie players. You know, but yeah, we didn't do one. But I'm off the top. I think we're pretty confident. I kind of felt that their bench was better. But also, I think, you know, we matched them up well in the key areas, especially the halves. Front row battle was going to be a tight one with Tapine and Papali'i against Barnett, AFB. So yeah, it's going to be a very physical game, bro. But yeah, we didn't break down exactly a combined 17, but we felt pretty confident in who we've got. Um, saying all those years. Okay, yes. Tahi's saying they'll try, but if we match the forwards we have at Tui, we'll put on a show. Yes, Tui. Who would that be? Okay. Oh, yeah. But anyway, yeah, hey, 90 of you guys in here or on Twitter, wherever you are. If you are on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. We appreciate you coming here and spending your time with me. But yeah, we got the wahnanga, the all you can eat. We did a little bit of the wahnanga at the start. Jose, if you get a chance, go back at the start. We did a little bit of what I usually do on the wahnanga, and we broke down a little bit of videotape. I just thought, while it's just me, I'd do a little bit of that. So yeah. But Jose's saying, I've been impressed with the Raiders so far. Let's see if they're all that awkward. Yeah, let's hope so, right? Tater's saying, are we missing Tavanga or Walker's leg speed? Like, I was happy with what Bunty did. Happy with what Ali did. I mean, yeah, are we? I was kind of weird. I feel maybe Webby's kind of held back on that and said, I've got enough there with Walker. And I would just love to see it a little bit more with Tavanga and Walker at some point. But yeah, I don't know, man. It looks like Tavanga's on the outside at the moment. He's out on the outside looking in. Bunty and Ali are that preferred, and then you're going to add in Marata. But yeah, if you're talking a one-off game, do you go with Tavanga and Walker and you trust maybe Lussick to play 80? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Roger. Thank you. Yeah, Jose. Yeah, when you get a chance, man. But yeah, go check out at the back. Ben is saying just me or has walks. Okay, we'll finish off that that corridor there. Yeah, and Styles, it sounds like Jazz is on the outside, and that's the competition. That's what we want as fans. We want competition for spots. We want guys working hard for things. So yeah, totally agree there. Ben is saying just me or has Walker's switch from 14 to 70 changed his vibe as an impact bench player somehow? Can you explain that a little bit? Just me or has Walker's switch from 14 to 17? Okay, changed his vibe as an impact bench player somehow. I think he's kind of still doing his role. I'm surprised he hasn't done as much ball playing as what he usually does. Yeah, it's interesting what you I know what you're trying to say there. Maybe I'm not too sure. I'd like to see him on the ball a little bit more. There was a bit of an errant pass in one of the plays. But I think the interesting thing is that they are very good. Those guys like Walker and that they're very good at reading when they need to ball play. I mean, if you looked at Walker a lot, he just kind of ran it back in behind the ruck. He knew that they needed to soften their defense up enough. There was like a lot of these guys, like Walker, they're not going to force the pass until they can know, okay, that's what I'm looking for, and he's very good at that. So I think we haven't seen the kind of ball playing Walker at the moment, probably because just we haven't been able to really break down defenses fully enough to activate those things. So Richard saying forward is pretty fast. I'd like to see him smoke someone. Yeah, he made that. I love what's happening with SJ. SJ is playing a lot of the left side a bit more now. I think there's a little bit pickup there with SJ, and you saw that underneath for forward, and he nearly got away there. He is quite good. But yeah, and Peace is saying, and this is the common consensus from a lot of people, Tavanga has too many errors, and I'm sorry to say. Yeah, and when you guys got guys like Bunty and maybe even Ali and 0 errors, it kind of just gives a little bit, and if it gives a little bit of benefit to them. But Richard, yeah, he does ball play a bit more, but I just think he's one of those guys. He knows off of cues, like, okay, the defense hasn't been broken down. I just need to go head it up here. So if you'll notice, a lot of his runs have just been going back in. But yeah, Esmond saying, is it just me, or should we make a play for the May brothers? Sound like Taylor May is wanting to leave the Panthers because they're not offering enough coin. I don't think so. I love the brother Terrell. He's a guy I'd like. I love that guy. But usually when the Sydney Roosters get their hands on someone, very hard to get them off. Yeah, I'd actually be interested if someone would ever do a research of where we've gotten our players from the most in free agency. Where have they come from? I don't, from memory, think we've gotten many off the Roosters. I think they usually lock up their good ones. But that's something to be actually researched. That might be a good research point. Which club do we most recruit off? Yeah, actually, I wonder what that club would be. Yeah, interesting one. Let me know what you guys think, just off the top of the dome there. But I would like Tyrrell. I think Talon, yeah, he's a good player, but I would I think there's enough in our depth to come through that we don't really need him. Unless Webby was very adamant on this guy is he's going to shore up things in terms of the Panther way. Like Catewell for me was a buy because part of it was like he knew how to win and understands the system that Webby's playing. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we usually wouldn't go for Catewell. Is Taylor May that type of guy? He's more of a branch to the tree, should we say, as opposed to being one of the root reasons for it. But Terrell May for me, sure, that's a guy I would like to get my hands on. Not literally, but if you know what I mean. Anyway, guys, yeah, we're in here. If you got a few more questions, let us know. Otherwise, yeah, actually, let's quickly talk Lussick. Are you guys happy? Lussick and Metcalf. Are you guys happy with that signing? Let me know what you think. My quick thoughts. I like both of them. I like both signings. I think, especially with Metcalf, he's got room to grow. There's a belief from Webby that he's the right guy. Well, he's a guy that he wants to work with. It sounds like from comments that he's made or by the club or whatever that this is the place he wants to be at. A place that's given him an opportunity, sure. He comes with that injury history. We're not sure when the next, when the next injury may come for him. I've said that I was willing to sign him maybe 12 weeks in or 6 weeks in to see him get a full body of work. I think the club are that worried about him that they sign him early, and I can understand why in a way. You kind of want to secure things up. If there's not much up there on the market that you can trust will come over to New Zealand, and you got a kind of a decent gap between the next guy coming up, then yeah, they had to make a call on it. They got it done. I'm happy with that. I suppose it also gives you the option if you can pick up someone from Aussie. If you ever feel the need to pick up someone, they can team up with a Metcalf. You can do that too. So if you got if you got someone that you kind of believe in, you got the potential in, he can have room to grow. He's got another year to work with SJ. He can learn under him. Maybe that's probably what's best for him is to kind of learn a little bit under him, and then maybe he becomes better. But you can also go and buy in the market for someone to support him, or even be another 7 if things don't work out. Just quickly here, Nick is saying if they want to make Auckland their home, then yes. If they just want money, wanting to move back to Oz once they get a name for themselves, and no, yeah, and that's the tricky. We've just recently seen that with AFB. Yeah, there's just whatever the situation is, the calling card back to Aussie for Aussie-based players is always that. If he gets a better deal, he probably will. But the power of Webby, we'll know in the next few years how he can recruit. He's recruited Cape well. That's great. Can you hold on to a young player that's got potential? So far they have. They've re-signed them. So there's enough to prove, and that maybe not Auckland, but the Warriors is a place they want to work at. They want to be around. They want to be around this culture. So, yeah, good shout there. But we'll never know. You just never know. I like Lussick, and soon he will reach Super Saiyan. Metcalf will till the end 26 is a great grab. Nice comment there. Peace Weaving, welcome in again. Lussick in the Storm game showed a glimpse of his potential. Happy with his extension. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. I think he's got potential to grow. He's got room to grow. There were some passes he did. I think he did one pass across the ruck, which I thought, whoa, that was cool. And then there was one tackle we had one guy at mark, and he didn't even look to kind of exploit it. So I think there's kind of two things working at one time. He's just a young guy, or he's a guy that's developing. Webby values him. Webby's comments on SCNZ today sounded like he's a valued figure. in the club, especially attitude wise. I mean, if you backtrack even to who was our previous hooker that went to the Dolphins back end of might have been the start, even preseason of 2023. I forgot his name, but you guys know the one I'm talking. If you can check it in the chat, who was the kid that went to the Dolphins? And I'm not sure where he is at the moment, but attitude got him. Freddie Lussick pretty much won out that spot because of his attitude. He's a no nonsense guy from what Webby sounds like, and attitude will always carry you. That's for sure. Hey, shout out 115 people in here, man. Thank you for being here with me. That's probably the most I've ever had in my life. 115 charges of Man City. If you guys follow a little bit of the Premier League football, so don't bring the curse of that. There's 150 charges to the channel, but I appreciate you guys coming in. Otukolo, thank you, Tater. Yeah, and remember Otukolo was he got released, and I think a lot of that was due to attitude. And then Webby again, his comments today was about Lussick saying he's a no nonsense guy, that type of thing. So yeah, we appreciate. Thank you, Tater, as always, man. And yeah, Tater, I gave you a little shout out if you weren't here about the Lussick topic about the context. So yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on that for sure, brother. Thank you for that. Really good points. Yeah, Nick saying we almost beat the Storm with Lussick. Yeah, and I actually going back onto the Lussick, I was more concerned about that the leadership group and the spine players didn't support him enough in terms of getting to the parts of the field where he could give good passes. I felt a lot of his errant passes were because just the guys weren't in spots, man, against the Sharks, and it felt like they kind of figured out their detail. They got to what they needed to, and he's just service. He's a kind of serviceable guy, getting them to the spots. But the guys are in the spots where they needed to, and he gave them the passes, and that's what's good at the moment. Yeah, but ruck manipulation, we want more of that for sure. We want to see that in the future. The more Lussick plays, the better he gets. He's an effort player. I'd like to see him run more. Yeah, I think so too. Joe, Tamati Martin has been a letdown. His experience excited fans, but he's not getting picked. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I just think that he's he a guy. He's Metcalf superseded him in the eyes of the coach and performance wise. And he's got to fight his way back in. But that's the case for the likes of Tavanga. Others they have to prove themselves. That was a Webby signing though, if we remember Tamati. So it's interesting that his guy hasn't kind of made the cut. But I'm not, again coming up to depth. We'll have injuries. We don't actually fully know with Lussick, with Metcalf, if his body can cope for 26 rounds. So yeah, that's to take into consideration. But look, for these guys that are playing cup, they just got to be ready, because they'll get called up. They'll all HIAs, all the likes that we know all that jazz. Tania plays for Clydesdale's Coop Cup after stint. Thank you, Tater. Yeah, and I wish him all the best. But I think that was a big factor of why he was let go was attitude, and also that's probably why Lussick's been kept. So yeah, TMM might be the sixth next year. He could be. He could be with Metcalf. That combo looked good in that one game that we saw. It could be CHT too. And from what Webby's comments are, he's very big on CHT being a half. So he said, because I think in the SNZ boys asked him, hey, what do you think of CHT? Should he be a good utility? He's like, I think he's a half first and foremost, and then he could be a good utility. But he says he reckons deep down he's a six. So Webby's got a good read on on guys' skill sets, how they operate. But yeah, for us as fans, he could be the next six. But at least for this year, he should be a utility. I think we all in kind of agreement with that. Nick is saying, I've always rated CHT. Yeah. And people are kind of really, there's a lot of kind of what's it called, bipolar on what people view of CHT. I'd love to see him with Webby and the structure and support around him, have a bit more of a go. But yeah, his time will come. He's just coming back in. Okay, guys, I think we've covered most of what we need to tonight. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'll catch a few last minute questions, but otherwise, I think we're pretty much done. And last one here, Tater's saying, "Give me Hooker CHT." Yeah, it looked pretty good for me. It looked pretty tidy. I would like to see him involved. He's got a lot of experience. I mean, he was kind of a young player that got thrown into the deep end, and survived, put his head above water, but not enough to like really shine and develop. So I'm hoping he's going to get a resurrection of his career almost. 138 people. I hope that's true. But if you aren't here, if you are on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe to wahsup TV. But if you're on Twitter or wherever you may be, appreciate you guys dropping in. Thank you so much for the support and spending some time with me tonight. I think we're done. I appreciate you guys' time. We'll leave it at that. We will be back on Friday night, 10 p.m. New Zealand time, or 10:15, 10:30ish, straight after the game. So jump on. Myself, Ash, Josh, Gage will be there, and a few other friends, if they're keen. Stells, if you're out there, or whoever, you're more than happy to jump on. But yeah, we'll be back on 10:15, 10:30ish, New Zealand time, for the Full Credit to the Boys, the post-match show, and we'll talk more there, and hopefully it's after a win. But thank you again, guys, for coming in. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you sharing the love. Again, just like and subscribe. We appreciate that as well. But otherwise, we'll catch you later. That's all you can eat, Warriors. We'll catch you on the flip side. Enjoy your game on Friday. Enjoy your footy for the rest of the week, and we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.